What is going on? Welcome to Truth Wizard, or welcome back to Truth Wizard. It is always good to have you. It's good to be here. I hope you're all having a good weekend so far. Thank you for joining. Today's video is going to be, I'm going to try to make this just short as possible. I just have a couple of questions. Do you think that NASA is literally just full of it? Do you think that I am too untrusting and I have my own bias that gets in the way as to why I don't believe the official narrative, especially from agencies like NASA? And do you think it's odd that NASA is never able to detect any object that enters our atmosphere? Have we ever been given a heads up about any meteor sightings at all? I really don't think we have. So let me just say this, man. I apparently was under a rock a few days ago. So it was the 16th, the 17th, something. I've seen a few different dates about this, but allegedly there were multiple meteor sightings across the country. You probably heard about this. I don't know where the hell I was. I didn't hear about this. So I'm looking into this shit and I'm realizing that once again, NASA's nowhere to be found. They didn't see anything. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, and let's get into this. Okay, so here's the thing. How is it that NASA always manages to never detect any of these objects? They've got many satellites allegedly orbiting Earth, deep space satellites, satellites that are on some type of a fixed orbit of sorts that are monitoring the sun. We have all these things, and yet none of these satellites ever really get hit by asteroids or meteors, which is just so odd to me that you've got an object orbiting constantly 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We know the rest. And for years, decades, this has been going on. They've been adding to the amount of satellites orbiting Earth. And you never hear of a meteorite or any kind of debris in space run into one of these satellites. Is that not strange? Like, what are the odds of that? So if you have all this space debris, like we're hurling through space, one direction, an unstoppable train, 500,000 miles per hour, whatever it is. Also, while we are orbiting around the sun and our solar system, all these things, all this movement and motion and the distance being covered, that really increases, I believe, the odds and probability of encountering a stray object. And yet none of these satellites, never a problem. The ISS, never a problem. I've never heard them talk about having, doesn't mean I missed it. I could have missed the story. Yes. But have you, and do you really see them repairing the ISS from a meteor striking it, little space debris, something damaging it? Are we not worried about those things hitting parts of the ISS and catastrophically damaging it? And I'm sure the answer is, well, of course they are. They've done blah, 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 blah to make sure it doesn't happen. Maybe, but they can't ever see the stuff coming towards Earth. All these things, no damage, no damaged satellites, no damage to the ISS, but also you just can't see them. Oh, they're too small. How convenient. There's always an excuse. Do you see? There's always an excuse. And maybe I just am too much of a tinfoil hat wearing son of a bitch. And I should be less of a tinfoil hat wearing son of a bitch. And things would be different. I might see things differently. I have my own bias. But do you not see why? Do you understand a little bit as to why? Let's watch this footage. Okay. So it wasn't until this object performed like this that they were able to tell us It's a 7-ton meteorite. I just don't know, y'all. I just don't believe it is the thing.
Well, NASA has confirmed the loud boom heard by many Ohioans and some Pennsylvanians this morning was actually caused by a meteor. It's one of the stories that we're tracking for you this hour. Videos taken by eyewitnesses show the bright shooting star streaking across the sky, including this one captured by one startled driver's dash cam camera. What the? A NASA spokesperson says the meteor was traveling about 40,000 miles per hour, which he added is fast for a human, but slow for a meteor.
First of all, her laugh sounded fake as hell. Second of all, I don't know. I'm not sure what these would be. I don't know what I'm suggesting myself, which I know it sounds wacky, but hear me out. Like, what would this be? If it's not a meteor, not a small asteroid of sorts, is it a craft? Are these some type of craft or ship that you happen to just see hauling ass through the atmosphere? Are there a certain height maybe is why it does this? I don't know. I haven't gotten that far, quite frankly. But do I still believe that we're just completely unable to not spot these objects? It just seems so unlikely. Do you remember? I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe this has been within the past year, maybe 2 years tops. There was a meteor, did the same thing over Manhattan. Came in and went over Manhattan. Nobody had a clue. Lit up the sky for the daytime even. Very bright, very obvious. Same rhetoric, same talk, same shit. Oh, we had no idea. It went undetected. It's too small. It's too fast. It's too ugly. It's too beautiful. It's too bright. It was too dim. My grandma was making cookies. I was at the oven helping her pull out the cookies. Oh, my God. Oh, the football game was on. I was too busy watching football. There's always an excuse. There's always like some kind of an excuse, man. Is this not suspect to anybody else? Am I really completely losing it here? The answer to that could be possibly yes. I don't know.
Yeah, what is that? I don't know. I'm filming it.
I'm pretty sure my manager also thinks I'm like in my 30s.
Is it a rocket?
It might be a rocket. It looks very SpaceX.
It's coming here.
If it is, it's going to be wonderful.
Oh, wow. There's definitely a line there. Oh, wow.
Yeah. This is a great SpaceX viewpoint. It's SpaceX.
How many times is this guy going to say SpaceX in 10 minutes? He's probably going to say it more times than I say I don't know and intriguing, because I say that a lot. Also, let's talk about this very quickly, please. How is this always SpaceX? How? Maybe it is. Maybe it really is always SpaceX. Like I said, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm the crazy one. Maybe I am too much of a conspiracy theorist. That is 1000% on the table. Or maybe everybody else just reaches for the low-hanging fruit, the easiest fucking answer, and that is to say it's SpaceX. Of course, it's SpaceX. Look at that. What is that? It's SpaceX. What is this? It's SpaceX. What about it's SpaceX? How fucking ridiculous. How many rockets is SpaceX launching? And here's the thing. If all of these oddball sightings of shit is always SpaceX. Now, let me just qualify quickly. Yes. Do I believe that there is SpaceX launching things? Sure. Do I believe some of these sightings really are SpaceX? Yeah, sure. Do I believe they are all SpaceX all the time? No. That's just what people say because it's the easiest answer. It's the easiest for them to understand and comprehend. So it's the first thing that comes to mind. So naturally, it's got to be right. It's so obvious. This is not space. Cannot always be SpaceX. But I was saying, if it is always SpaceX, why are they launching so many rockets? Like, what are these missions? Are they literally just testing all these rockets? How many fucking tests do you have to do? I'm asking for a friend, but seriously, I want to know. Why are we not asking, like, why are y'all launching so many rockets? What's the point of this test? And maybe they do say this and I just happen to miss it. But it really seems like you don't really hear shit about the launches. You just don't hear, I don't anyway. You just see some weird shit. It starts spreading all over the internet and then it becomes, oh, it was just SpaceX. I don't think so, man. I just don't think so.
That's absolutely SpaceX?
Yeah.
I thought SpaceX was white. Oh, wait, SpaceX, or, I mean, it's from, you're saying it's from
this is
SpaceX.
like the best meteor I've seen.
Are we watching a meteor right now?
I mean, I've never seen anything in the sky that looks like that. Whoa, it's losing. Okay, the tail's changing color now.
Yeah, it's SpaceX. It's going now, so.
Wait, when you say it's, do you mean it's Starlink? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's a satellite. It's a rocket.
Oh,
That might have been a meteor, dude. No.
it just disappeared.
It was a meteor burned out.
What an expert. This asshole just said SpaceX 65 times in 1 minute. Only to, at the very end of the video, say it was a meteor and seem perplexed. It was a SpaceX rocket, it's a satellite, then it's a meteor. And these are the same people, many others just like him, that would see me on this channel asking questions, highly caffeinated, if you can't tell, and they'd make fun of me like I'm the problem for asking questions. Well, I don't really care about that. That's their right. You look more retarded than I do, I think. How you go sit here and tell your friend this shit is SpaceX 65 times in a minute, only to then retract your statement and not have a fucking clue what it is? Again, this is the problem with people. We don't know what the fuck is going on, and we are being told some things that are not true. I believe. This is not always SpaceX. I don't know where this was. It did not say. But this has got to be SpaceX, right? It's a SpaceX. It's SpaceX. This is SpaceX. Oh, it's a SpaceX rocket. No, it's SpaceX, X, SpaceX, SpaceX. You see how ridiculous that sounds? Question is, what would these things be then? If it's really not SpaceX, and maybe they are meteors, asteroids. I don't know, man. I don't know. What do you think these things could be is the question. Here's my dilemma is this. If you've seen any other videos, you should probably know I'm pretty much leaning towards the idea that space is not what they've told us it is. I don't want to say it's fake, like all fake. Like I think there's some truths sprinkled in with a lot of the lies and the garbage, But I really don't think space is what they've told us and taught us. So it's hard for me to think that this is just some kind of little tiny rock or something, or a medium-sized rock or boulder, asteroid, meteorite that just happened to be flying through space with no purpose and just entered our atmosphere and missed the ISS and all the thousands of satellites. Didn't hit any of them. Once again, none of those were hit or affected by any rogue space debris. I don't know, man. What's your thoughts on this?
Artemis 2 rocket is back on the launch pad in Florida. The rollout took 11 hours. Remember, it was moved back for repairs last month. The mission to launch 4 astronauts around the moon could now lift off as soon as April 1st.
Please, hold on. She just said they were going to launch astronauts around the moon?
11 hours. Remember, it was moved back for repairs last month. The mission to launch 4 astronauts around the moon could now lift off as soon as April.
Y'all. So we can't go back to the moon. We can't land on the moon because we saw, I think you probably should have seen the NASA employee, former astronaut, whatever the fuck he was, one of the two, who said, I'd love to go back to the moon in a nanosecond, but we lost the technology and it's a painful process to bring it back. I paraphrased very, very little there. So you don't have technology to go back to the moon direct, but now we have a rocket that is able to send astronauts around the moon. So you're not going to the moon, but you'll go around the moon. Is there okay, so logistics wise, I'm sure it's much different landing a craft on the moon. Sure, of course, I understand that. But like, could you really still not figure that out? It's 2026. The last time you went to the moon was in the early 70s, and you managed to do it then, but somehow you can't do it now. It makes no sense. It just doesn't. If your brain works at all, you could just objectively think about this, just neutral. Don't get overly excited. Don't get overly angry. It's fine. It doesn't matter either way. Just think logically. It doesn't make sense. Oh boy, I cannot wait for this one. Why NASA plans to build a manned base on the moon. These are my favorite because do you realize they've been talking this nonsense for a long time? We're going back like 20 years, I shit you not, about them having a manned base on the moon. I saw an article about them building plans to build like a railroad system on the moon. For what? Like, why even? What? What are you talking about, man? For fucking what? The best we can do right now anyway is just send a rocket up and people around the moon. But at some point, y'all talked about wanting to put a railroad, transportation type system on the moon. And here, I can't wait. Let me just shut up. We can get into this lovely story about a manned base on the moon. Gee, I cannot wait. More coffee, please.
Leroy, as the only one among us here who's actually been to space, I wonder, help us understand something. As I was mentioning, subsequent Artemis missions would like to land on the moon and start constructing a manned base there with the idea of learning something about how to build the same on Mars. What is it that we need to learn about doing that, and why are we doing it on the moon first?
Sure. As Miles pointed out, the moon is close by. It's only 3 or 4 days of flight away. If you're going to go to Mars, even when the planets are aligned, you're talking about 6 to 8 months one way. And so if something happens, you can get your crew back much more easily and quickly, if you have some kind of an incident. Now, the reason we're going to the moon to learn how to do all these things is because we want to apply these lessons to a Mars mission. Yes, we could fly directly to Mars first. We have the technology to do that. It would just take, money, of course, but you are also taking more risk. And so what we're doing is buying down risk by starting on the moon, going back. There are a lot of scientific reasons to go back to the moon. And, while we're doing that kind of research work, we're also learning how to operate a base on another planetary body, how to, try to live off the
All right, look. Is this my imagination that this guy's got like a mild smirk on his face? That he's thinking this guy's absolutely full of shit. maybe I want to see that. Guys, he says they have the technology to get to Mars and to do these things on Mars. They just need the money. Well, doesn't the U.S. government, who basically owns and operates NASA, do they not have effectively a money printer? We've been told a narrative for a very long time about a national debt and the debt ceiling and how the debt ceiling just continues to get raised. And we have this ridiculous fucking counter that keeps counting the dollars adding to the debt. At some point, we all have to come back down to earth. And you have to acknowledge the national debt. It's not getting paid off. It's not. This has been a problem for a long time. It's been talked about for a long time. When have you ever really seen them work towards paying a national debt down? You haven't. It's talked about. It moves markets. It's a good talking point for political opposition and to get bills signed or to veto certain things, to get certain legislation, crammed into shit, right? That's all. It's weaponized. It's fucking fake. It does not exist. That being said, why that's all relative is because they have the money. They can just print the fucking money. They're in charge of the money. They make the fucking rules. Literally, they make the rules. If they don't like a rule, they change it. This motherfucker talking about how they just need the money. Ha ha ha. They have the money. They control everything. They can change the rules at will. They can print the motherfucking money. They could do this. They just can't do this because they literally can't get to these places and do these things. So the next question is, why? Why are they perpetuating this bullshit?
Land, if you will, some kind of in situ resource utilization that's been talked about for a very long time, and try to get some water out of the ground there, some ice water. A lot of reasons to go back to the moon, but this is a stepping stone, as it was in the original exploration program that was started a long time ago. The plan was to first go to the moon, figure things out, and then move on to Mars.
So,
did you really believe any of that?
Not believe that this is the news that we are hearing about right now, but NASA just officially canceled the entire mission that was supposed to land humans on the moon. This is obviously insane right now. For years, Artemis 3 was supposed to be the mission that finally put humans back on the moon for the first time since 1972. That was literally the entire point, why it's all over social media, why so many people are excited right now, and yesterday NASA just officially canceled it. They actually didn't scrap the entire program though, they actually just scrapped the plan, because Artemis 3 is still going to launch in 2027, but it's just not going to go to the moon anymore. Instead, they're saying that the astronauts will stay in low Earth orbit and they'll practice docking the SpaceX and Blue Origin landers that were supposed to land them on the surface. The reason why they're saying that they have to change it is because the original plan is trying to do way too many new things at once. This would be the first ever attempted crewed docking, the first new spacesuits, the first lunar lander test, and the first landing, all in one mission. And basically an independent safety panel just came out and said that's how you don't come home. The actual landing is now officially scheduled for Artemis 4 that would happen in 2028, and NASA says that they actually want to do 2 landings in that year. But also at the same time, we have been 2 years away from the moon for about 6 years in a row now, so I guess we'll see. I cannot believe.
Wonderful. Someone else who has seen the BS, man. He just said it for you. If you don't believe me, there's at least someone else that has seen and heard this shit. They just keep kicking the can down the motherfucking road. And how do other people not see this and not recognize this? Well, lucky for us, I think I might have found out how. Please allow me. I know you've seen this story. And is it not a little insane that people are actually entertaining this to be real?
Florida man claims to have been kidnapped by dolphins and forced to build an underwater city. Let's talk about it. So Lee County Sheriff Department reported early one Monday morning of a man soaking wet on the shoulder of the beach, drawing blueprints in the sand. He was severely dehydrated and very disoriented. And what he told these deputies was he was taken against his will by a pod of dolphins and forced to work underwater with them and build these cities. So basically,
that just sounds ridiculous. I want to hear her say that again.
And what he told these deputies was he was taken against his will by a pod of dolphins and forced to work underwater with them and build these cities. So basically this big underwater construction project. And the man claimed that the dolphins approached him while he was swimming on the beach one day. And they escorted him to a site that was 40 feet below the surface, where they needed help building structures. And what I find interesting is that he told the deputies that basically the dolphins communicated him through a series of clicks. Now, y'all know it is actually very illegal to communicate with dolphins. It is said that dolphins hold secrets.
Yeah, man. The series of clicks is how dolphins communicate, woman. It's called echolocation. That's how they talk. So if they were to communicate with you, that would be how they would do it. That's not really a mystery. I'm not going to play this whole clip. I only played this just because I know you had to have seen this. And if you haven't seen this, well, you're welcome. This actually happened. The guy actually said this. This is a real news story. What's worse is that people are on the internet, and I'm sure IRL, talking about this as if it actually happened. Guys, gals, this shit right here is how they are able to keep kicking the can down the road. Well, this is just a little fucking nuts. I believe this is why they're able to get away with the things they get away with. Because I really think that people believe this happened. And it's frightening. It's even more frightening than if people actually believe this happened, that this Florida man was kidnapped by a pod of dolphins and forced to build underground structures. If they really believe that, these same people are driving cars. Think about that. Think about that, man. They are on the road with you, behind the wheel of an automobile. That's not safe for anybody. Okay. I only looked up one example, and if you wish, if you'd like, if I have to, I'll find you more examples because they exist. But if you would look at this page I've pulled up here, this is from Science. All right. Do you see the date? Look at the title. To the moon, NASA. Planetary scientists want the agency to get on with long-standing lunar objectives. What is the date of this article? September 19th of 2006. That is 20 years ago. Okay? Let's read what they were talking about 20 years ago. Good God, that's bright. Jesus. What science should NASA do as it returns humans to the moon? Plenty, says a report released today by the National Research Council of the National Academies. And in large part, it's the same science that the scientific community has been pushing for years. An ambitious effort to understand the origins and evolution of rocky bodies like the moon and Earth. Last March, NASA asked the NRC to prioritize research objectives for the robotic spacecraft and then astronauts that will scout the moon's surface over the next couple of decades. Well, funny thing is, we've already reached the next couple of decades. It's been 2 decades since this article. We have not been back to the moon. And as we just saw, they've kicked the can down the road again a further 2 years to 2028 to put people on the moon. In response, the study committee headed by George Paulikas, a retired executive of the space technology firm, the Aerospace Corporation, ranks largely basic science objectives. The first is new funding for lunar science. This data will be coming in torrents thanks to endeavors such as the 2008 Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, the LRO mission, and missions to precede LRO by India, China, and Japan. So not only the U.S., you've got 3 other countries involved in this. In 2006, this is reported. So they were launching an LRO in 2008, and these missions by 3 different countries, India, China, and Japan, precedes this. So before 2008. So this was in 2006 written. So it would leave room to think that it was either the last remaining months of 2006 or it was going to be in 2007. They were going to launch their own lunar orbiters, basically. The next priority is robotic and human exploration of the South Pole, Aitken Basin. I hope I pronounced that correctly. A huge impact scar, mostly on the back side of the moon. That was the top lunar recommendation of a 2002 NRC report titled New Frontiers in the Solar System. Then comes a global instrument network for probing the interior, followed by rock sample returns, scientifically informed selection of human landing sites, and analysis of any icy polar deposits. Pardon me for asking this, but I am pretty sure I have not missed that they have not put shit on the moon, not even an unmanned car, craft, whatever, of any type, to gather rock samples. I'm asking for real. Did I miss something at some point in my life that would have been, I believe, pretty huge news? We have little cars on Mars. Right? We have the rover on Mars. We've had a couple of them. Am I correct in that, I'm pretty sure. So we were able to put rovers on Mars. We've been able to receive high def 4K photos from the rover on Mars back to Earth, and they can show us in great vivid color and detail what Mars looks like. But they have still not put a same rover on the moon. They can't put people on the moon still. We've had these conversations in 2002. They're talking about using robotic and human exploration of the South Pole of the moon. Where's all the robots? That's a whole different conversation to be had just on the robotics alone, if you ask me. And boy, oh boy, am I going to have that conversation. But, oh man, like, come on, dude. The science hasn't changed, says committee member Charlotte Peters of Brown University. If I ruined your name, I'm very sorry. The objectives remain the same as when robots were going to do all the exploration, but lost out to human exploration. So at some point, they wanted robots to do all this, but the robots lost out to actually having humans do this, but the humans are still nowhere near able to be able to do this. We have not worked this out yet, right? And now NASA has to consider just how much more science can piggyback on the return to the moon than it managed in the days of Apollo. Well, boy, isn't that just heartwarming? NASA can figure out how much more they can accomplish now. What have they done? Nothing. I'm not making that up, is the thing. In terms of the moon, getting there, samples, more research, they haven't done shit. They've done this. They've posted article after article, and they have never delivered on any of this. Do I think that's a coincidence? No, it's not a coincidence. It's just not. Check this out. This is a visual representation on the NASA website of these are satellites NASA has around the Earth. And oh boy, look at this. We're zooming out further to see more orbiters, satellites, things orbiting way outside of Earth. And look at this. There's the LRO still orbiting the moon. We got it. Okay, there it is. Several things orbiting the moon. Oh, we're zooming out further. Oh, fantastic. Look at that. Wow. Man, that is absolutely incredible, is it not? Look at where the Earth is at, and now look at what they have orbiting somehow, keeping track of what? The sun, deep space, maybe the moon and the Earth, but yet all of the images of the Earth are composite images. And they're airbrushed and colors added by artists at NASA. So if we have all these items out here and satellites, and a lot of these are objects able to and do take photos of deep space and the sun, once again, the question remains, how is there not any real photos of the Earth? How do they not have any all natural photos of the globe Earth for us? This is on the NASA website. This is a visual representation of what they have orbiting in space, collecting all this data, taking all these photos. We're not done yet. Oh boy. Oh shit, there really are. Oh my God, we really are doing this. We're doing this. Okay. So now we've got something orbiting. Oh my God. This is a joke. This has to be a fucking joke, man. The visualization is a tour of the solar system showing all of NASA's active satellites as of July of 2025. It begins near Earth, highlighting satellites in orbit around the planet. The camera then pulls back to reveal satellites at the moon, L1 and L2. A thin yellow line indicates the direction of the sun, showing the spatial relationship between the sun, Earth, and Lagrange points. The view expands to show the inner solar system, then zooms in on Mars, highlights its active satellites. From there, the camera moves out and in toward Jupiter to show Juno, the only active satellite currently orbiting the planet. And then it continues to the edge of the solar system, revealing NASA's most distant active spacecraft, Voyager 1, 2, and New Horizons. Okay, so let me finish this then. We can see all that wonderful bullshit. Here we go. So we can do all of this, but we still can't go to the moon. We can build all of these things, launch all of these things. Three objects, man-made on Earth, launched by NASA, orbiting Mars, still can't land on the moon. Oh my God. And now here's Jupiter. We've got an object, an orbiter, a satellite of sorts, Juno, orbiting around Jupiter, and we still can't land on the moon. Voyager 1, 2, and New Horizons there in the center. How absolutely astonishing. Still can't land on the moon. Well, look at all those satellites. And also, too, keep in mind that all of these objects in deep space, not deep space, on the outer rim of the solar system, focused on deep space, I would imagine, all of these satellites that we're seeing looping around Earth, none of these things have ever been hit by debris. Debris being the origin story of this video, asteroids or meteorites. So we have so many of these meteorites, smaller, undetectable objects, entering Earth's atmosphere, whizzing over half of the fucking country, multiple states at least. And then in some cases, we have this worldwide. And yet, none of these satellites have ever been struck, ever, blown up, just destroyed from little tiny rocks traveling at 40,000 miles an hour. You could have a pebble traveling at 40,000 miles an hour and hit one of these things. It's done. That's done. The sheer velocity alone of even that tiny object, it's done. How have we never heard of any of these objects being damaged? You never hear of the ISS, any major concerns of that being a situation. And we've been traveling for, well, God knows, according to them, we're traveling at what, 500,000 miles per hour, one direction through the universe that's always expanding. How much of this debris have we encountered in the last week of travel alone? Think of how far we've gone. The literal distance in 1 week. And we've just constantly luck out. All of these wonderful pieces of technology have gotten just insanely lucky to have never been struck catastrophically by a meteorite, an asteroid, nothing. That's incredible. That's fucking incredible. Does that not seem a little too incredible? Y'all, I'm done. I'm done with this video. We're gonna wrap it up, man. This stuff is incredible. All this stemmed from the recent meteor asteroid sightings that didn't really hear much about. Like, allegedly, there was many of them. Also, allegedly, naturally, these objects went undetected because they were so small. The usual rhetoric. What do you think? What do you think about this? What's your opinion? Are we being told a bunch of bullshit? Am I just overly skeptical and completely off my rocker? And if you think so, it's totally fine. But I mean, I didn't give you a ton of proof here, but I did pull you a legitimate article from 2002 talking about robotics, exploring space, the moon, doing all these things. Still haven't been there. Still not there. Still kicking that can down the road. All of the technology in space, all the satellites, yet where the argument that most people who are flat Earth want to know, where is the actual real photo of Earth? You have all this shit orbiting everywhere. How can you not give us a real undoctored photo of the Earth? I think it's a great question. I'm going to leave it off with that question. Comment, let me know. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, if you're still here, I love you for it, man. I appreciate it. Hit the like, please. If you are not subscribed, if you enjoyed this video, you must subscribe. You must come back. We're going to do more videos like this. I'm going to do more videos that are a little bit more lighthearted and fun, a little more entertainment only, you know, ghosts, UFOs, creatures, conspiracies. This is what it's about. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm going to see you in the next one.